Every night, the last train pulls into the station at almost the exact same minute, and he has come to know its rhythm better than he knows his own schedule. The platform is always quiet at that hour, with only a handful of tired commuters scattered along the benches. A young man rides the last train home every night, and he has noticed the same girl standing on the platform several times before. She always leaves late, just like him, and every night, without fail, they end up taking the same last train together. He has started to recognize the small details about her without meaning to, the way she always stands near the same pillar, and the way she checks her phone twice before the train arrives. He notices the instrument case she carries and wonders if she might be a music major, or maybe even part of a band. He imagines all sorts of possibilities about what instrument might be inside, but he has never worked up the nerve to ask. For a moment, their eyes meet, and he quickly looks away, feeling embarrassed for staring like that. His heart pounds a little harder than he expects, and he tells himself it is simply the surprise of being caught looking. Even though they keep running into each other at the same place and the same time, he assumes he is the only one who has noticed this pattern. He tells himself that things like this are just coincidence and not fate. The city outside the station windows is dark and mostly empty, the kind of late-night stillness that makes small moments feel bigger than they are. Unable to focus on his reading, he decides to put on his earphones and listen to music instead. The song he chooses is called Long Afternoon by an artist known as Yeowoon. He thinks to himself that the intro of this song is the best part, no matter how many times he has heard it, and that the first verse is just as good. He loves the song so much, but hardly anyone else seems to know about it, and he wishes there was someone he could talk to about it. He often wonders what it would feel like to talk to another fan of the song, someone who understood why a single track could feel like a private world. Suddenly, the sound starts to feel muffled, and he assumes his cheap earphones are breaking again, so he reaches to turn up the volume. Just then, the girl walks over and asks him to turn down his phone because she can hear it from where she is sitting. Startled, he fumbles with his phone and mutters an apology before he even looks up at her properly. He is shocked to realize his earphones were never actually paired to his phone the whole time. Before he can fully process his embarrassment, she asks him if he likes that song playing from his phone, the one from Long Afternoon. For a second, he just stares at her, unsure if he heard her correctly. He admits that he does like it, and her face lights up as she says she is a huge fan of that same song too. She tells him she has never met anyone else who likes Long Afternoon, and that the artist's music is amazing, even though he is an indie musician with very few fans. He agrees and adds that the artist does not fit current trends, does not promote himself, and barely communicates with anyone. She points out that if the artist ever held a concert, people would record it and it would spread everywhere, but he simply does not do anything like that. She mentions that the only thing he shares is artwork of his character named Yukin on his Instagram page under the handle Kin-Oh-Hu. She adds that if he posted photos of his daily life or showed his face, he would probably gain a lot more fans. When he asks if she thinks the artist should reveal his face, she says not necessarily. She explains that as a fan, she would like to meet him and is curious what he looks like, but she also thinks it is nice to just watch him create in the way he wants. She says she likes that he focuses only on his art without doing anything else, and that the mysterious concept suits him. She says she likes Long Afternoon exactly the way it is. Listening to her talk about the song with the same quiet passion he feels makes something in his chest loosen, like he has been carrying this alone for a long time without realizing it. She then asks him if they have run into each other here a few times before, and he awkwardly says he is not sure, trying to pretend he does not know her to hide the fact that he has been staring. As the train arrives, she tells him she already knew he had been staring at her this whole time. He is stunned, realizing she was aware of him watching her, and aware that they had both been taking the same last train together. Panicking internally, he worries that she might think he is some kind of stalker or pervert. He spends the entire train ride replaying the conversation in his head, unsure whether to feel embarrassed or strangely happy. A coffee shop called the Coffee Soul, where he works, and his boss, a 39-year-old cafe owner, notices him acting strange and asks what happened. He tries to brush it off at first, wiping down the counter a little too aggressively, but his boss does not let it go. He explains that a girl on the train realized he had been staring at her, and he is terrified she might think he is a creep. His boss reassures him that if the girl truly thought he was a pervert, she would have avoided that platform a long time ago instead of continuing to show up. His boss tells him that if he is worried, he should talk to her properly next time so he can find out exactly how she feels about him, and jokes that maybe a romance could start. He immediately dismisses the idea, calling it absurd. His boss teases him, asking why not since he is clearly aware of her too. He admits he is aware of her, but insists the feelings his boss is describing are not what he has. He says he is not even in a position to think about liking anyone right now since he is busy preparing for graduation next year, getting ready for work, and earning money for rent through his night job. He explains that he was simply curious about her because he sees her often and found himself wondering why she goes home so late and what she does. His boss teases that curiosity like that is usually how relationships start, and he insists that is not true at all. He says he would be satisfied just being friends with her, someone he can talk to about the music they both like. His boss laughingly repeats that this is exactly how relationships usually begin, and he tries to shut down the conversation so they can get back to work as new orders come in. The rest of his shift passes in a blur of orders and small talk with customers, but a part of his mind keeps drifting back to the platform. Later while working, he keeps thinking about her and wonders if she will take the last train again today. He decides that if he sees her again, he will apologize for staring at her from behind so she does not mistake him for a creep. He admits to himself that he really wants to have a long conversation with her about Long Afternoon, since it is so rare to find someone else who likes that song as much as he does. He hopes she feels the same way he does. As closing time approaches, he finds himself checking the clock more often than usual, something he rarely does on a normal shift. That night, he returns to the platform planning to sit near her and start a casual conversation, but he finds another man asleep and drooling on the bench where she usually sits. Frustrated that his spot is taken, he decides it cannot be helped and resigns himself to studying while standing instead. He pulls out his notes and tries to focus, but his eyes keep drifting toward the station entrance every time someone walks in. He tells himself forcing a conversation would be weird and that he does not want to risk causing a misunderstanding or pushing her further away. He decides that tonight, he will simply pass by without saying anything at all. Just then, she notices him standing there and asks if he is really planning to wait like that. She points out that there is still time before the train arrives and asks why he would stand the whole time. He explains awkwardly that there is no open seat, but she tells him there is one right beside her and invites him to sit down. She tells him he is welcome to sit with her for a while until the last train finally arrives. A girl sits alone at a bus stop late at night waiting for the last bus home. She used to sit close to someone on this same route, but that was a long time ago. Now she tells herself this distance between people should be fine. She calls it her own kind of safe distance and takes her seat. A young man boards the same bus and sits nearby, heading home late again. He asks if she often takes the bus at this hour. She explains she works the evening shift at a cafe, and her boss lets her leave early, but sometimes she finishes late. He asks if she is still in university, and she says yes, she is in her 4th year. He assumes she must be busy with a part-time job on top of studying. He adds that she must also be busy preparing for future jobs, and she gives a quiet yes. He says it must be tough working late and studying at the same time. She asks if he is also heading home late from work. She answers that she is not working late herself and instead jokes that she just likes spending time with men who have peculiar tastes before heading home. He is caught off guard and asks what she means by peculiar tastes. She explains that she means people with hardcore and unique preferences and that she deals with such clients before going home. He panics internally, wondering if she is hinting at some hidden dark world he knows nothing about. She clarifies she actually means a music studio with practice and recording rooms. She says a lot of office worker bands book the studio late at night. She reveals she works there as a studio manager and sometimes barely gets off on time. She admits there are nights she has to stay up completely. He quietly repeats the word hardcore to himself, thinking about music studios. She notices he seems to be thinking of something strange and asks him directly. He panics and denies it, insisting he was not thinking about anything weird at all. She teases him by asking again if he is telling the truth. He insists once more that he really was not thinking of anything strange. Internally, he realizes she completely controls the pace of their conversation, and he must seem very easygoing to her. She then asks how he came to know about a musician called Long Afternoon. She points out that between his job and his studies, he should not have much free time to explore new music. She asks how he managed to discover such a hidden musician. He explains it was not really exploring, but more of a coincidence. He says he once caught a terrible cold and was stuck in bed. Since he lives alone, there was no one to take care of him, so he just lay at home. The house felt too quiet, and he grew lonely. He thought he should play some music, so he searched randomly online. That was when he stumbled upon a song called Dense Planet by Long Afternoon. At first, he simply thought the melody was good, but the more he listened, the more he loved everything about it. He says he especially loved the lyrics that felt like throwing everything away with lines like Let It Be. She asks what his favorite song from Long Afternoon is. He admits the artist does not have many tracks, but he still has a favorite. She quietly says she also likes Dense Planet. He adds that Tidal Flow is also great. She agrees enthusiastically, saying tidal flow is fantastic, especially the part where the rhythm changes after the chorus. He says Long Afternoon is brilliant with how electronic instruments are used. She responds a little awkwardly, agreeing that it is true. Just then, the train arrives and he realizes how late it has gotten. She brings up what he said earlier about the line, "Let it be." She tells him that if Long Afternoon ever heard that comment, he would be very happy. He asks if she really means that. He then says he wants to talk a bit more with her. He clarifies this is not about wanting to date her or get closer in that way. He simply wishes they could keep talking about the things they both like. He introduces himself as Lee Yeowoon and asks for her name in return. She tells him her name is Shin Haein. She warns him that since she has told him her name, he must be the one to say hi first if they ever meet again. She adds that if he does not, she will ignore him for the rest of his life. He happily agrees and says he will see her next time. After the train leaves, she lets out a breath and repeats his name to herself, Lee Yeowoon. She quietly reacts to the thought of him with a small smile. Elsewhere on public transport, a drunk man drops his wallet without noticing. The young man sees it and worries that if he leaves it, someone else might take it. Instead of simply placing it nearby, he picks it up and puts it safely in his pocket. He does this, even though it means he could be mistaken for a pickpocket if seen. She observes this and thinks to herself that he is naive but a genuinely good person. She reflects that a good person like him does not think twice before showing kindness. She admits she already knew he was kind-hearted. What she did not expect was that he would turn out to be a devoted fan of Long Afternoon. Later, while lying at home, she keeps replaying the memory of him enthusiastically praising Long Afternoon as a genius. She catches herself wondering if he would like her if he knew she was actually Long Afternoon. She quickly gets annoyed at herself for even thinking about something she does not want to dwell on. She reminds herself that people who like Long Afternoon like the music itself and not her personally. She decides there is no real need for her to ever reveal that she is Long Afternoon. She tells herself it does not matter if her stage identity gets all the recognition and spotlight. She is content staying simply as Shin Haein in her everyday life. She resolves that as long as she can keep doing the music she loves, that is truly enough for her. The next morning, she wakes up earlier than usual, even though she got home late the night before. She lies in bed, staring at the ceiling, and realizes she is still thinking about the conversation on the train. She tells herself this is ridiculous, since she barely knows anything about him beyond his name and his taste in music. Haein works at a recording studio where she spends her days helping clients get the most out of their music sessions. She has grown used to the rhythm of the place, the hum of the equipment, and the constant stream of musicians coming in and out. A member of a band was checking out of room A after finishing his session for the day. He gathered his things slowly, clearly in no rush to leave. Before leaving, he asked Haein if he could get her phone number or her Instagram account. He told her he had been wanting to message her for a while now and had just been waiting for the right moment to ask. Haein felt embarrassed by the moment and did not know how to respond right away. She ended up not giving him her information and simply smiled awkwardly instead. Her uncle Shin Haein, who is 38 years old, works as the studio manager and live engineer at the same studio. He arrived early that morning and noticed that the rehearsal that day had been unusually simple compared to most sessions. He had also caught a glimpse of what happened between Haein and the band member. He teased Haein about turning down the man's request the moment he got the chance. He told her that he had seen her interaction by accident and asked why she refused to give her number to someone whose type she seemed to like. Haein explained that she does not like talking on the phone because she cannot see the other person's face, whether it is a message or a call. She said she prefers being able to read expressions and tone in person rather than guessing through a screen. She also added that the band was not really her style anyway. Her uncle laughed a little at her explanation and then told her that the 10 o'clock recording reservation had been canceled. He said she could clean up early and go home for the day while he took care of the rest of the studio work. Haein felt a small wave of relief since it meant she could finally work on new songs at home. Haein stood in the studio as her uncle handed her a small gift. She looked at it with confusion and asked what it was. Her uncle explained that it was White Day and that he had bought it on his way over. He told her it was handmade caramel and that people online had been going crazy over it. He suggested she drink it with coffee while she worked on her songs. Haein thanked him, but still looked unsure about the gift. She then asked if she could practice guitar for a bit before leaving. Her uncle told her to do whatever she wanted. As she got ready to head out, she called out that she was leaving first. Her uncle praised her and told her to go ahead. Someone nearby shouted for her to have a romantic journey home. Haein reacted with confusion, wondering what that phrase even meant. He thought about how he was supposed to be improving his language scores for a planned vacation. Instead, he found himself still stuck, struggling with a translation he could not finish. His thoughts were interrupted when he noticed Haein nearby and greeted her. She greeted him back cheerfully. He noticed the small gift she was holding and became curious about it. Haein explained that it was White Day and that she had received a gift. He quietly reflected to himself after hearing this. He thought about how popular Haein must be. He considered that she was attractive and had great style, so it made sense that many people liked her. He assumed she probably received gifts often because of this. He told himself that it was not something he needed to concern himself with. He reminded himself that they were not close enough for him to worry about who gave her gifts. Trying to move past the thought, he asked her if studying was difficult. She gave a small response, and he held something out toward her. He told her to eat it and get some energy, saying sweet things helped when thinking hard. Haein looked at the item curiously and asked why he was giving it to her. She pointed out that it looked like something he had already received as a gift himself. He admitted that he did not really like sweets. He said that if he took it home, he would probably end up throwing it away. He told her to just take it instead. Haein hesitated, saying it still felt like too much to accept. She explained that it felt strange, since it seemed like a gift from another man being passed along to her. The coworker paused, confused, and repeated the words back to her. Haein clarified that on White Day, it was traditionally a man giving a gift to a woman. He then told her plainly that the caramel was from his uncle. Haein reacted with surprise and embarrassment at the misunderstanding. He teased her, asking if she had really thought he was re-gifting something from another guy. He joked that he felt disappointed she would think that of him. Haein reacted loudly, repeating the word uncle in disbelief. He laughed it off and looked at the caramel again, asking aloud what exactly it was. He said he had never tried it himself, so he could not say for certain, but confirmed it was handmade caramel. He mentioned that it had apparently been trending recently. He told her that since it was sweet, she should eat it whenever she took a break from studying. He added that she probably would not be able to think clearly without some sugar. He admitted he had never seen handmade caramel like this before. Someone else nearby encouraged Haein to take a few pieces. They pointed out that her uncle had given it with real sincerity, so she should at least try some. Haein agreed, realizing she would need to tell him her honest opinion the next day, or he might be upset. She should give her one piece. He reacted with surprise, asking if she wanted him to feed it to her directly. Haein explained that she had been tuning her guitar and her hands were greasy. She said she would rather not use her hands to eat right now. She asked him to simply put it on her tongue so she could suck on it instead. He suggested she could just take it home and eat it there. Haein insisted, telling him to just feed it to her. He gave in and placed the caramel on her tongue. Haein reacted immediately to the taste, surprised by how sweet it was. He asked if it really was that sweet, confirming her reaction. She coughed slightly and repeated that it was incredibly sweet. He agreed, saying it was almost sweet enough to give someone a headache. He recommended eating it alongside coffee or a bitter tea to balance it out. Later, his phone buzzed as morning arrived. He groaned, feeling like he had barely slept before waking up again. He wondered what he should eat for breakfast that day. He decided he would just eat the leftover caramel, reasoning that it would help balance things out. He agreed with his own reasoning and reached for another piece. As he ate it, he laughed to himself about how sweet it still was. He thought about how it was the caramel Haein had given him and that he still had some left. He commented again on how sweet it was, exactly as he expected. He noted that it had successfully woken up his tired mind. He decided that things had actually worked out well, since he was now fully awake and ready to start his day. A notification then appeared, announcing a new update had been uploaded. Yeowoon works at a small cafe, calling out orders to customers as they come in. Her coworker notices she seems unusually cheerful and asks if something good happened. She explains that her favorite musician just updated his Instagram after a very long silence. She says that based on his usual pattern, he might be releasing a new song soon. She admits she is so excited imagining what the song will sound like that she can barely sleep. Her coworker sighs, realizing that was the reason for her mood, since he had assumed something romantic had happened instead. He asks about romance specifically, bringing up the girl she always meets on the last train, wondering if things had progressed between them. She quickly denies it, insisting she does not like the girl in that way. Her coworker points out that meeting someone often should naturally make them closer. She admits that lately they have not even seen each other for a few days. Then she pauses, remembering that they actually have been growing a little closer recently. She reveals that they even exchanged names with each other. She adds that the girl gave her caramel as a gift on White Day. Her coworker reacts with surprise and excitement, asking how the name exchange even happened. She explains that she told her own name first before asking for the girl's name in return. Her coworker teases that it sounds like a scene straight out of a Korean drama the girl might watch. He then asks eagerly what happened after that, wondering if they shared a meal together to thank her for the gift, or maybe even had drinks. She replies simply that nothing more happened beyond that. Her coworker groans in disappointment, saying that is far too boring, and that if something more had happened, it could have made a good story to share over drinks that night. She refuses firmly, telling him that her personal life is not material for his drinking stories. He laughs it off, joking about what the big deal is between them and offering to share another one of his own stories instead. At that moment, a new customer steps up to order a single cappuccino, requesting it to go. The staff tells him they will call his number once it is ready. As he waits, Oh-yoon studies his face, feeling like she has seen him somewhere before. Her coworker asks who she is looking at and who it might be. She says the customer who just placed his order feels strangely familiar to her. Her coworker glances over and immediately recognizes him, revealing that his name is Sung Hyun Jae. He is introduced as a 28-year-old indie singer and songwriter